Hello and welcome back to Tuk-Tuk Travels. Now, I left off last time halfway through my friend Zoe's visit to Thailand. So after we got back from Ayutthaya, we slept in Bangkok and then caught the early morning train to Kanchanaburi. Now, Kanchanaburi is famous for having the bridge over the River Koh. Now, actually on the Mekong River, everyone assumes it's called the bridge on the River Koh because the French novelist who wrote the book on which the film is based had no idea what he was talking about. He got the wrong river in Thailand. So instead of being the bridge on the River Mekong, it was the bridge on the River Koh. And as such, the Thai government changed the name to Koh Yai, which means the big Koh, as opposed to Koh Noi, which is the actual River Koh. So now it theoretically is the bridge on the River Koh, but only by technicality. Now, the bridge on the River Koh was built between 1942 and 1943 as part of the Burma-Siam Railway. After the Japanese took Burma, now Myanmar, from the British in 1942, they needed to send supplies there from the other colonies in Japan, China, even Siam. But the Straits of Malacca, which is down by Singapore and Malaysia, were heavily guarded by British submarines, and lots of their supplies were sunk. So, in order to do this, they decided to build a railway that had been deemed too dangerous to build by the British government in the early 20th century, and they would use prisoner of war to build it. This railway line is about 400 odd kilometres long, and it goes from Bangkok all the way to Lanong in Burma. 60,000 prisoners of war were used to build the railway line, mostly British, Dutch, Australians and a few Canadians and Americans. Of those 60,000, 12,399 died. Furthermore, they used 180,000 forced Asian labourers from the neighbouring areas, of which I think 20,000 odd died. So the Japanese were reported to be very ruthless in the building of this bridge, or in the building of the entire railway track. And just for the name of war. It was a shame. But we went up there, we had a look on the bridge, we walked across, and it was just lovely. And then we went to visit the Allied War Cemetery. Little did we know, we actually went to Kanchanaburi on Anzac Day, which is the Australian and New Zealand War Remembrance Day, not just the Second World War, but all wars Australians and New Zealanders have fought in. It's there to remember those fallen in battle. So the cemetery was littered with flowers and memorial wreaths. And there were lots of veterans there who'd actually worked on the railway, and their families. And it was really a wonderful time to be there. You had all the emotion, even more emotion than you usually would. It was a really nice day. And then we went to the Death Railway Museum. Now there's a few museums about the Death Railway in Kanchanaburi, but this is the only one that seems to have positive ratings. So we had a look, it was actually very interesting. It tells you how it was built, who by, there were some stories, materials, and that was really a very good day. I like history, so I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I think Zoe did too. On the following day, we did something Zoe wanted to do. When she arrived, she said, "I don't mind what we do, you know Thailand better than I do, but I want to ride an elephant." So I was like, okay. I did my research much like I did in Chiang Mai, and I found a place in Kanchanaburi called Save the Elephants, which is a charitable foundation that takes on elephants from circuses or pets and that have just been mistreated, and they take them in. So we went there. We didn't really ride them much. We spent the day feeding them, and you wash them, and you go down to a banana plantation and dig up the used plants for them to eat. You make them some food with some sticky rice balls. So it was really quite fun. Unfortunately, when we did get to ride them is when you go down to the river to wash them. And it started raining quite badly. Now we didn't mind because we were getting in the water anyway, but both of us thought it's probably best not to take our cameras out, A, to a river, and B, in a potential downpour. Did I say potential? I mean torrential downpour. It wasn't potential, it was happening. Anyway, so there are actually no photos of us on the elephant, but Zoe got to ride an elephant, and I was happy because the reserve Save the Elephants is doing quite a lot of good work. So, yeah, fun day was had by everyone, and the second time in a week I'd ridden on the back of an elephant. Yay! It was good fun. I enjoyed it. After we returned from Kanchanaburi, we then headed on to the island Koh Tao. After all of our jetting here and about every single day, it was nice just to have 4 days just to sit on a beach, do nothing, just relax. So it was lovely. We decided to have a look at a few of the beaches, but for some reason the taxis in Koh Tao are ridiculously expensive. Like 400 baht to do a 10-minute drive. Crazy. That would cost you about 70 in Bangkok, which is the capital. So I wasn't impressed with that. But we had a look at a few of the beaches, the best one by far being Shark Bay. Now apparently you can see sharks in this bay at certain points of the year. I wasn't fortunate enough, but I did have numerous fish nibbling on my feet, which was quite fun. Zoe didn't like it, but it was good fun. And we went to a few other beaches. One of the beaches was Aoyai Beach. It was inaccessible by land, and we had to get a taxi boat. So that was nice. It was nice and secluded. It was a nice time. But yeah, besides spending most of our days on the beach, we had really quite some fun in the evening. On one of the days we went to a ladyboy cabaret, which was interesting. And on the final night, it was, quite honestly, the drunkest I have been in Thailand. I probably said that before, but at that point was the drunkest I'd been to that date in Thailand. Oh, my shoes were ruined. The tide came in. It was up that late. The tide came in. Didn't realise. So my shoes were ruined. And staggered back to the hotel at God knows what hour. Oh, and I had to leave the next morning. Wonderful. But no, it was so much fun. It is an expensive place, Koh Tao. More so than Bangkok because you have to ship everything to the island. But it's beautiful. The beaches are wonderful. The island itself is green. And it's not as touristy as Koh Phangan or Koh Samui. As I said, I really didn't like Koh Samui. And Koh Tao, although it's quite close, has a completely different feel. It's mainly catered towards scuba divers, and it's a little more upmarket. So there's none of the hobo backpackers and stuff. I mean, there are a few, but it was generally a nice environment to be around. Everyone was friendly, and it was just a beautiful place. I'd go back if I could. Koh Tao was really quite lovely. We arrived back in Bangkok with 2 days left before Zoe would leave. The first day we went around and she did all the shopping she wanted, buying her gifts and things, which was lovely. And then in the evening I took her to the Sky Bar. Now, if any of you have seen Hangover 2, the Sky Bar is the bar they visit at the Liberal Estate Tower up on the top. We went up and bought our one drink. It was about 650 odd baht for a single cocktail, which is nothing by London standards, but by Thailand it's quite a lot. So we bought our mandatory drink and then soaked up the atmosphere. The views from the Sky Bar are unparalleled. Wonderful views around Bangkok, picking out things here and there in the night sky. And it was really lovely to have a drink up there. We'd all dressed up for the occasion because you can't get in with trainers and shorts and things. So she was in a dress, I was in a little shirt, and this shirt actually. But it was really lovely to be up there. We then went to have dinner at a place called Mama Dolores. Now, I had been recommended this by my friend Ali. She's a Canadian and said the pizza she could get at Mama Dolores would beat even that she'd get at home. So I spent quite a while hunting it down, and it turns out it's just a wood-fired oven built into the wall with a few tables on the street outside. So I was like, okay. We sat down, and the pizza was good. I won't lie, it was a very nice pizza. Small, only about yay big or so, but very nice. So we had that. And then I took Zoe for the wonderful fun that is karaoke in Silom. Now Silom is the gay district in Bangkok, but don't let that put you off, because I've had some of the best nights out there. It's full of crazy people, and whenever we go, we always go to the same karaoke bar called Telephone. You go up, you can have a private room, or you can just sing in the open. And it's always great to go on a Friday or Saturday, because it's always full of Filipino ladyboys who sing Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey stupidly high, and you're like, Jesus Christ. But it was great fun. So we were belting out our numbers, and I think she enjoyed it. Her flight leaving in the evening. In the morning and afternoon, there are a few things I still wanted to show her. The first thing we did, we walked down to Jim Thompson's house. Now, I said, I've been here before, but it's one of the places I'd thoroughly recommend. It was nice to look around the old-style buildings and the textiles, and I think Zoe enjoyed it. But we then jumped on one of the riverboats and headed down back towards the Golden Mount. Now, there's a place I'd never been just outside the Golden Mount, and I said to Zoe, did you want to check it out? It's a museum in honour of King Rama the Seventh, sorry. We're currently on King Rama the Ninth, so this was his, I think it's his, I'm not sure, some relation. But he was the last king of Thailand before it turned into a republic briefly. He was excommunicated, and, well, not excommunicated, he was not usurped. He was kicked off the throne and moved to England during the war. But it was nice to see, the museum was huge, actually huge, and it was free to get in, which was nice. And it told the story from everything when he was born, his schooling in Britain and France, his life in Thailand, his policies, his legacies, his death, after his death, and even there was an entire exhibit on his wife, who was much beloved, actually, great lady. It was actually a really good museum, and when we left, they gave us loads of booklets and DVDs and CDs. So for a free museum, it was really well worth it, and it was most enjoyable. By this point, it was getting relatively late, so we headed back to Siam, got lunch at Bonchon, ate far too much chicken, very good chicken, but far too much, and headed back to the hotel. Took Zoe to the airport, still munching on a Bonchon, we had that much. And we sat on the very top floor looking out over the runway, where we said our goodbyes. It was really lovely having her stay, and I hope she enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed having her. And the next day I had to get back to school to start work again, my summer holiday having finished. But it was lovely to see her. And it's always nice having some company when you travel around places. I don't mind travelling on my own, but I much prefer to go with a friend. I'm not very social in hostels, and yeah. So it's nice having someone I can actually talk to. Okay. That is the end of my summer holiday, and thus the end of the Tuk-Tuk Travel specials. And my next video will be back to the usual monthly routine. So I hope you've enjoyed these stupidly long videos, but it's nice to give out information, and I hope you don't find me too boring. If you do, just say so, but no one's complained so far. So yeah, I shall speak to you all soon. Until then, goodbye.